At the end of yesterday's episode, we had just CA'd this line right down there. And now we're going to want to try and fasten it halfway in between here and here on this line. Something like that. Now, I don't want it pulling too tight because then it's going to, pull this line down, and I want it to be up there, and yet on the other hand, I don't want it to appear that it's, sagging either. Now, because I can work best when the camera is to my left, I've sort of swung you around here, but I think you can still, see to the proper perspective. And let's see here. Maybe something like that would work all right. Sorry if I keep getting my hands in your way here, but we do want to get this done. That's pretty close. It'd be nice if it was just a little bit higher. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, when I cut this off right here, is this going to go slack on me, or is it going to stay tight? I don't want to have to, redo it. Okay, my hope here now is that if I can put just a tiny bit on. When I was watching yesterday's video and it was too late to make any changes, I noticed that I'd forgotten to insert one of the shots that I'd taken. Remember that little piece of blue tack that we were using as a weight? Well, when I cut it off, I'd actually videoed it, and then I forgot to insert it. Here it is now. Don't want you to miss anything. Okay, now here is where those little scissors that I was looking for this morning would be really good. I'm stretching this way out here. I don't want to stretch it too far. I'm going to come from underneath. There we go. Now here's something else I saw when I was looking at yesterday's video. And I don't know if I can straighten that out back to the way it was or not. I'll give it a try here. Okay, just let me check the monitor. Now let's go down a little. You've heard me say this till you're sick of hearing it, and that is, you can see this a whole lot better than I can. I don't get to see it until I get to the computer like this. Maybe a little bit more. It's almost there. I think that's pretty good. Okay, now back to where we were here. Now I'm noticing that this blade seems to cut really good out near the tip, but further out in the further back here, it doesn't seem to be very sharp. Anyway, when I cut this off here, like this is the line here we want to cut off. I want to make sure that it doesn't pull this line into the blade, and I accidentally cut this one here. I'll put the macro lens on. Now I'm wondering here, let's see if I can brace myself so I'm not so shaky. Would the scissors actually be better? Okay, you can see that it's pulling this line down. but just a tiny bit. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to run the one on the other side from here up to here, but I'm going to do it off camera and we'll take a look at it after. I'll be doing it pretty much the same way as I did this one yesterday. We now have our line on the other side, but we got a little problem here. I'll swing the camera around after so you can see it. I guess I broke this little ladder off when I was twisting on this part here. Now, while I'm thinking of it here, one of the viewers, quite a while ago when we first started running this line, had suggested, in fact, it's probably more than one viewer now that I think about it, to wrap the line around the end of the yard arm. I'm calling it a yard arm. I don't know what the proper name is for it. I'm pretty sure that's one name for it. This part right here, I don't know what it's called. I'm not even sure what it's for. If it was a sailing ship, I might think, well, it's to help support the sail, but, it's obviously for something else. Maybe to run ropes up and down, I have no idea. Doesn't matter anyway. So anyway, the viewers had suggested wrap the easy line around the end of the yard arm or the mast, whatever it happened to be, and it would look better. And that's true. I should have done that, and I will try to do that. You will see that I did that over here when I did this one. Anyway, our little ladder that broke loose does not want to stay up against the part of this, so I'm going to have to somehow prop it. Now I can honestly say I haven't tried this yet, but in theory it should work. If I put the end down there on the deck and just lean it, whoops, try this again, put this down on the deck and just lean it against the ladder. Can we push this in now so it'll stay there? You know what, the toothpick might not be heavy enough unless I was to sort of wedge the point in one of the, and then shove it in. Maybe I'm going to have to find something heavier. I'll think of something. I think the idea is good. I have nipped off the pointy end of the toothpick and I've kind of got it wedged down there, and I do believe the top of the ladder is now making contact with this part right here. Yeah, I think we're ready to boogie. Now you can really get an idea of the size of some of these little parts. I was looking at the monitor a minute ago, and this toothpick looks like an old wooden telephone pole. I think I got it. Okay, about 3 minutes has passed now. Well, so far so good. Now I didn't put very much CA on the top there, and I imagine that it's first time I bump this with any amount of force, it's going to come off again, but well, if it does, I'll put it on again. Okay, here we are in step 66. We have put this line on, and of course this one we did earlier. This is that line that was coming down, and we fastened it on down here. Let's just move over to 67. This is that same line, and it shows us a little bit more in detail where to fasten it on. And if you remember, our Bismarck does not have this little bracket. In fact, our Bismarck doesn't have a lot of pieces that are on this one. However, it was only about a third the price too, if I'm not mistaken. Now there is one more line here, and it goes from this line right here over to somewhere here, but it's not too clear. See if I zoom in on that one spot, if we can figure it out here. Well, it almost appears to fasten onto those what look like screens, and we had concluded about almost a year ago that those things were hoisted up as some sort of a signal. I forget exactly now what they were for. We can look it up again. I guess it fastens onto those things. That was the idea. Maybe they were to be so you could lift them up. Well, let's just put a little line on there, and just probably won't hurt. I've checked Stefan's book here, and I realized that the perspective is backwards. In other words, I could have turned the ship around, and because Stefan's drawing is going the other way. But these are these screens or whatever they are, or signals, right here, and here they are on the ship. So we have to run a line. Here it is in Stefan's book, from here to here. So I guess it would may as well just try and fasten it, I guess, on the top of these and run it to about here on this line here. Yeah, I guess maybe the line would be a little bit more steep than what I did there. I'd probably fasten it up. Well, we'll worry about that in a minute. Now, I haven't looked it up, but if I remember back, and it's slowly coming back to me, when we looked this up about a year ago to find out what those screens were for, they were hoisted up the main mast there, and they could be seen from all around. And the idea was, hey, we're going to throw this bad boy into gear, and we're out of here, so don't get in front of us. Now, of course, they would have used more nautical terms than that, but that was the idea, as best I remember. Now, I've just suspended the line down from the main mast. I'll try and adjust it so that the end of it is going to be about the right height. And then it might possibly be a little easier to place. At least that's the plan. Maybe just a tiny bit more. Try that. I'll push it back out of the way. Okay, like that. Now if I was to put a little bit of CA right there where the end of that pointer is. Okay, let's just see what happens. Now you'll notice how grungy everything looks when you move in on it. Okay, now I don't want to get pull this away for the time being. A little bit right there. Now, can we get the end in there before it cures? Whoops. Oh, flip back out of the way here. Come on back. There. I think it landed by accident just in the right place. Put a tiny bit more on that because I don't think there's very much there. I think that'll hold. Okay, the idea is this line that we just glued on here is supposed to go up and attach to this line. Let's see if we can adjust everything here just a little bit. Have to be so very careful not to drop anything. Okay, now if I can put a little bit of tension on this. I'm glad that this is Very gently now. I think my railing will support that. That's almost perfect. Alright, let's just leave well enough alone here. I think that's... Yeah, I think that's just a perfect angle. Okay, we lucked out. Okay, you know, I don't think I've ever held this applicator upside down before. Just want to touch it at the X. Whoop, I moved it. I think that'll be just fine. A little bit maybe more than I had intended, but about an hour has passed here now. And we're going to be wanting to cut this line off. Oh, notice how this, when I let it go slack, it kind of went crooked on us? I wonder if maybe that's because the CA acted on the rubber. Maybe I can straighten that out later. Well, there's not a whole lot we can do about it right now. If it's not perfect, I guess it's not perfect. But the idea will be to try and cut this line off as close to this line as possible, so that there isn't a little thing sticking up on the top of it. And then we can always straighten out this joint after, maybe. Okay, I've moved the camera over onto the other side, and my plan was that I would be able to video this being nipped, because I'd be able to just move right in close and, you know, steady myself a lot better. However, I'm noticing that black easy line, it doesn't show up against my dark shirt here. Now if I have that like that, can I maybe if I shorten this a little bit here. You have to be able to get in there with the scissors. I'll think of something. Now this trembling and shaking and uncertainty goes on for about a minute. I just couldn't seem to get it, at least not so that I felt comfortable about squeezing the scissors together. I was just too scared I was going to cut in the wrong place. And I kept trying to improve on it. And like I say, it went on and on. I'm trying to get it just right. My eyes are going in and out of focus here. I gotta reposition here. Well, I'd hope to do it better than that. Wonder if I can take that off now. I'm going to end up probably snipping the line. Maybe if I move this white piece of paper out of the way here and I can come at a slightly different angle. I'm hoping you can still see it. Well, I took a little bit off there, but okay, now I'm trying to bend this line straight here. Okay, this one has to go this way. Well, you know what? I think we're just going to have to leave it. Maybe I'll think of something. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.